And they're off for this 3 1/4 mile Coral sponsored Grimthorpe chase. And Beat the Boys, one of a trio of greys in the race, handy as they run to the first of 19 fences, with Killyglen, the orange sleeves, and Manila 4-Star against the fence. And they've gone off quite hard here down to the first. And they're chased by Mina's Dandy. Leading 3, Take It Well. A blunder from Ring of Roses. Last but one, an anxious moment for Dominic Ellsworth. He's been among the winners already this afternoon, but it was nearly an early departure there. He did well to sit tight. Ring of Roses disputes last place with Always Right in the maroon silks. So Killyglen has gone on the run around to the second from Manila 4-Stars and then Beat the Boys. The second of the greys, Presenting Forever, is tracking the leading 3 early on. And then the other of the greys, Character Building, with the hoops on the sleeves, tucked in on the inside of Mina's Dandy. The white-faced Marigo, the Scottish national winner, seeing plenty of daylight. Killyglen was a bit awkward over the second. A blunder from Always Right towards the rear. And with Ring of Roses, Lothian Falcon is held up, and OG in a dark blue jacket is tucked away on the inside. The third is the first of the ditches, and Killyglen was much better there. He's quite bold and really attacked it. Ring of Roses, the tail of the field, is a couple of lengths adrift after that first fence blunder. And Killyglen leads them on to the fourth. From Beat the Boys, Presenting Forever. Then Manila 4-Star in the red and white jacket, just ahead of Mina's Dandy. Followed over by Marigo and OG, and then Character Building. Lothian Falcon next, and then a small break to Always Right and Ring of Roses. So swinging on in for the first time. They're at the end now of a little over 3/4 of a mile. And a line of 4 fences to jump up the Doncaster home straight. Killyglen, out-jumped by the grey Beat the Boys, who went on once more. Presenting Forever racing keenly on the inside. Manila 4-Star is next, and then Mina's Dandy in the headgear. Marigo away to the left from Lothian Falcon in a dark green jacket, and then Character Building, OG right down the inner. Always Right still in rear with Ring of Roses. On towards the 7th. Killyglen and Beat the Boys exchanging the lead, with Manila 4-Star coming up to make a line of 3 as they rise. Jumps well there, Manila 4-Star. Watching the rest over, again, Always Right and Ring of Roses, the last 2 to touch down. Just in front of that pair, Marigo and Lothian Falcon, and they close in on the 8th. Beat the Boys, ears pricked, jumps well. Again, Ring of Roses is the last to touch down. Marigo's just become a little outpaced. It's been a generous early gallop, and he's being chased along. The Scottish National and Ida winner as Beat the Boys and Killyglen embark on a further circuit of town more. From Manila 4-Star in third, Presenting Forever the grey in fourth. Mina's Dandy races next, OG up the inner. Near side, Lothian Falcon, the grey Character Building between the two. Then back to Marigo from Always Right, the maroon jacket under a patient ride, and Ring of Roses and Dominic Ellsworth are still at the tail. Moving down towards the water then, Killyglen looking to go one better, having finished second in this race 12 months ago, just leading from Beat the Boys. Manila 4-Star and Presenting Forever, OG right down the inside, travelling well. Mina's Dandy's close up with Lothian Falcon, the yellow cap, and then Character Building. Another plain fence. Killyglen jumping well. In touch is Always Right. Ring of Roses still just a little off them. Moving on towards the second of the ditches. Killyglen booted into it, came up well. A blunder from Mina's Dandy just behind them sent the birch flying. On towards the next, fence 12, heading to the end of a circuit in the Coral Grimthorpe. And Beat the Boys and Killyglen still forcing it. From Manila 4-Star, Lothian Falcon is a bit closer now, disputing fourth with Presenting Forever. And then Mina's Dandy in their headgear still, OG under a waiting ride on the inside of Character Building. Marigo and Always Right are next, and Ring of Roses remains last. Almost 3 in a line once more as they took that. Killyglen emerged just ahead of Beat the Boys and Manila 4-Star. Presenting Forever, having raced keenly early, has been quietly tracking the leaders. He's in 4th place under Brian Hughes. Then Lothian Falcon, the 12-year-old under Robert Walford, just ahead of OG. Mina's Dandy being chased along from Character Building and Always Right. Marigo is ridden along once more, and no show from Ring of Roses still at the back end of the field. So going towards the 13th, into the last mile of the race. Killyglen and Beat the Boys go to this plain fence together. Just a length up on Manila 4-Star and Presenting Forever. And then Lothian Falcon ridden along. OG up the inside is still cutting every corner. They go towards the last of the ditches. Killiglen and Dennis O'Regan perhaps just ahead from Beat the Boys. Killiglen, he's jumped the ditches particularly well all the way round. Marigo, meanwhile, is still outpaced, and Character Building is the latest to be ridden along as they run towards the 5th from home. So still Killiglen and Beat the Boys trading blows on the sharp end. From Presenting Forever, the grey right behind them, but he rather reached for that and he's gone. Presenting Forever takes a tumbling fall. Hampers Manila 4-star has been brought to a halt and has immediately pulled up. So Killiglen and the ridden along Beat the Boys lead them back towards home. Lothian Falcon has responded to pressure, gone up into 3rd, always right under a very patient ride, has now improved to go 4th. OG is back in 5th, and then Character Building and Mina Standy, and they're well clear of the others, and it's still Killiglen and Beat the Boys, chased by Always Right, who's now steadily working into it under James Reveley. This is 3 from home, and Always Right jumps through to take it up and quickly goes a couple of lengths clear. Lothian Falcon goes in pursuit. Killiglen at the 1 pace, then Beat the Boys, OG, Character Building and Mina Standy, and it's Always Right for John Wade and James Reveley down towards the 2nd last. A good leap there, 4 lengths ahead of Lothian Falcon. Beat the Boys is back in 3rd, then OG, Killiglen and Character Building. There's 1 to jump in the Grimthorpe, and it's this lightly raced chaser, Always Right, in front at the last. Jumps well, 4 lengths ahead. Lothian Falcon, though, is staging a rally on the near side. Always Right's idling a little in front. The old boy, Lothian Falcon, is bearing down on him. Always Right digging in. Lothian Falcon with a thrust on the near side. Always Right is clinging on from Lothian Falcon. Always Right hangs on and wins the Grimthorpe. From Lothian Falcon, Character Building 3rd, then OG, Beat the Boys, Killiglen, Mina Standy and Marigo the last to complete.